Welcome back to Stooge Stream. We're here for another episode of the WCPW recap. And today we're talking Loaded Episode 9. I'm your host, the Knockout Fiona, and I'm joined as always with the Stooge.
Welcome. This episode, I'm on colour. The Knockout's doing play-by-play. Let's kick it off.
Hopefully I can read my notes here, but let's give it a shot. So, we didn't open in the WCPW arena in Newcastle. We actually opened Loaded with a clip that was previously up on YouTube of the current WCPW champion, Joseph Connors.
The righteous Joseph Connors.
Thank you. Attacking Joe Hendry at a music festival where they were doing a little cross-promotion for the product. Hendry was up pepping the crowd and doing some MC work, and Connors came and attacked him. Took him out on stage with a band behind him ready to go, and then turned around to the band and said, "Play my music." And turns out, very well spotted, Stooge, that the song they were playing is Joseph Connors' entrance music.
Now, Joe Hendry had to see this coming. It's the band that plays Joseph Connors' entrance music. What are you doing emceeing the bad guy's band, dude? Come on, you're smarter than that, Hendry. You're smarter than that.
Look, being such a fan of wrestling, I almost felt a little bit awkward whenever they cross-promote into a different medium. But they were promoting that they will be coming down to Nottingham soon. So, it's like, good on you, getting in there and plugging your product.
No, the awkward bit is in the full clip that they have on YouTube where Joe Hendry's like, "Do we have any pro wrestling fans here?" And the crowd's dead silent. He's like, "Come on, I know there is some here. You might just be ashamed to say so." It's like...
I think so. So then we cut back to WCPW backstage, opening with Mr. Martin Kirby. King Ross's Bay, his favourite wrestler, who's not someone in another promotion we won't talk about. So Kirby sort of barges in on prosciutto, as I'm going to call him.
Prosciutto, parmesan,
Pachiti, who's hanging backstage with Eric Bischoff.
As you do, you just hang with Uncle Eric.
They were just chilling and look like a broom closet, can I say?
Yeah, just him and Uncle Eric just hanging out.
Tiniest little room. Actually, I called him Grandpa Bischoff because he's getting a little bit salty.
The old WCPW fans will get the Uncle Eric line.
Of course, sorry.
And WWE fans. Who is Uncle Eric? Eugene was Eric Bischoff's nephew on WCP.
Right.
Nick Dinsmore, who, ironically, Nick Dinsmore was the first person that Jack the Jobber called when he was looking for someone to help him.
Too. You pointed that out. Yeah.
Continuity!
Well, Kirby, in his right form, demands a title match because he's been getting over so well. He's been building up so much momentum. EB interjects and sort of says, "Oi, son, show some respect to Parmesan. Hold your horses. Instead of a title shot, I'm going to give you the opening of tonight's show. And in this opening match, you're going to have face some formidable contenders." So we had Kirby, Will Ospreay, Travis Banks, our new Kiwi guy, Marty Scurll, and I actually thought it was a four-way match. I didn't realise until the match started that it was a furious five-way, trademarked, including Pete Dunne. So, of course, all five have respective scores to settle with each other and little beefs with each other. So
I loved Bischoff's promo where he's like, "So you're going to face three other guys, right?
Yeah.
No, four other guys."
I missed that, right, yeah.
He was like turned into the Count from Sesame Street for a second. 3 men, 4 men.
So that was the opening match of the show, which, what an amazing way to open an episode. I like Travis Banks' new moniker, the Kiwi Buzzsaw.
Yeah, I like that they were saying in the previous episodes he's doing New Zealand hardstyle. Now, that's not a thing, but it's becoming a thing because he trained in Japan, so he wrestles in a very hardstyle Japanese manner. But, come on, he's a Kiwi.
Kiwis are our soul brothers and sisters here in Australia.
Yeah, we'll pretend that for the rest of the world.
Well, it was certainly a fast and furious match. The action really never slowed down, of course, with 5 guys with different styles, and they all played up to their characters really well. You know, Ospreay didn't disappoint with his aerial spectaculars. Marty Skrull was villainous. I think him and Pete Dunne should be a tag team. I like to see that.
I would actually. I like Pete Dunne's character. I like his wrestling style. The commentators said it, and I totally agree. It very much reminds me of the old school British World of Sport style wrestling, which we did get from time to time here in Australia, so I have seen it. A very different style. All of them work very different styles, but they mesh together fantastically.
Yeah, so again, a match that didn't disappoint. Some highlights being Kirby's 4-man Boston Crab human centipede all tangled up together, and he twisted them all over.
That was awesome. I love the 4-person ready to go Zoidberg elbow, and they all rolled out one by one.
Kirby still maintains a little bit of a comedy element, despite the fact that he has proved himself as a serious contender and he's really over. Don't you think?
Despite the fact that he beat Will Ospreay, yeah,
he's a lovable dickhead.
Yeah, he's a lovable lout.
Yeah. And there was a great unison double tombstone pile driver from Dunne and Skrull at one point.
There was some amazing spots in this match. Now, let's not oversimplify this match and make it sound like it was a spot match, because it wasn't. This was a great wrestling match. There was some great wrestling in it. There was some great spots. There was some comedy. There was stories being told. So there's a continuation of the Travis Banks, Martin Kirby story arc, which we're going to see pay off shortly, I assume. There's things are being told. Will Ospreay losing to Martin Kirby again.
Yeah,
spoilers.
Kirby pinned Dunne for the win, so everyone's going to start hating
Kirby. Yeah, so there was all of these little story arcs that were happening within the match, and I think the match told a really nice story as far as a single match. It continued story as well. There was some great actual chain wrestling, submission wrestling, and spots on top of that, and that's how you build a great wrestling match.
Exactly. I think the live crowd there really got a treat, so jealous. But as I said, Kirby was successful, which you called, to continue his momentum and to really keep putting him over as a serious contender.
Yeah.
Now, later on, I'm just going to cut forward a little bit. We see Will Ospreay leaving the building, and he's accosted by WCPW's own paparazzi, I think Jennifer, her name is, saying, "What's happening now?" And he said he's off to Japan. He's
part of the Chaos Fraction in New Japan.
Yep, Japan is where he must go. His journey is taking him there, but he will be back in November, and he demands a one-on-one with Kirby.
Which will be another spectacular
retribution, so that's good to know.
That was very cool. And again, this is a great match. I really enjoyed it, and I thought it was a great way to open the show, great way to build momentum into the next match.
Well, after this match, we cut to a promo of B. Priestley, introducing fellow heel Alex Windsor. So she's another feisty, mouthy southern ladette of a British chick. Setting up for a tag team match with the WCPW Women's Champion Nixon Newell and an unknown partner of hers.
At this point.
And then we get into match number 2, which is the fan favorite
Moose!
Ever over
Moose!
Smiling and dancing.
He's so awesome. When he's I want that Moose 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Give me just him wrestling over and over and over, but doing the smiley, dancey Moose, the coming out doing a jig.
I'm going to hurt someone today.
Yeah. And he's so happy about it. It's awesome.
I'm going to slam them into the apron.
So it was Moose versus
Drew Galloway. Thank you. Nice to see him back in WCPW.
This is almost a TNA match, but out of the confines of TNA story arcs. With the emo Drew Galloway.
Well, he doesn't talk as much as he had been on TNA. It was a very solid match. Solid dudes and a solid match. Of course, huge hits.
These are two
back
big
and
men.
Forths, some massive moves. Moose is, as I said, he's powerbomb onto the apron.
Moose!
Gets me every time. Ugh. His tackle flip, he does.
Yeah.
Doesn't just do a spear tackle.
No, he does this great spear and then flips through. It's just spectacular to see. And he is a big man. And so is Drew Galloway. Drew Galloway is a big dude. He's not short by any means. He's a really tall guy, really solid, really big guy. And you can tell when he's up against Moose, like sometimes it's hard to tell just how solid Drew Galloway is.
Yes. Yeah, totally.
And you see him up here and you're like, oh, wait, that's a powerful man. That's a solid, powerful guy.
Well, I thought this match went just long enough and it kept you interested. Sometimes big guys can be challenging. Yeah, but these guys they're performers.
They're professionals.
They're
and
amazing.
They knew exactly what to do, how to keep the crowd in the palm of their hands. Told a great story as well. And
Will Galloway got the win with the Future Shock DDT.
Which, if you look at wrestling booking as far as popularity, most people would assume that Moose is going to win that match.
Yeah.
He's still so new to the business. He's only been around for, 4 years? 2012 he started training in Ring of Honor, so 4 years. Now, regardless of how over he is as a human being, he's still paying his dues on the international circuit. He may have paid his dues in Ring of Honor, but he's still paying his dues on the international circuit, proving that he can put together match after match after match. And this was another one of those matches, showing that he's a solid, consistent performer/worker.
Yeah, and now Galloway himself, he's up to 2-0 for wins in WCPW. So is he going to start getting a title run, or do we just use him as a special guest?
Well, it depends on how many appearances he's going to make.
Yeah.
Depends on the flexibility within TNA shooting times and stuff. And TNA is going to be ramping up, but that's a story for our Impact Wrestling recap. But it depends on that type of thing. And Moose as well, and EC3, and all those people that are crossing over with WCPW, a lot of that comes down to their shooting schedule with TNA and how available they are.
That's true. And surely it's in everyone's favour to have these guys come over. It's cross-promotion for TNA.
100%. And TNA allows them to do indies. So WCPW, being the fact that it doesn't have TV, regardless of how many people watch it, is still classed as an indie, so they can get away with it.
My favourite part of the match was the end after the bell rang when they dropped kayfabe and gave each other a big hug.
There was. So Drew Galloway was playing the heel throughout the entirety of the match in his new emo heel character. But they did completely drop kayfabe, and two big men hugged and put each other over. It was quite sweet.
No, I don't feel that Galloway is as significantly a heel as he is in TNA. I feel he's just sort of neutral in WCPW.
Yeah, but he's still playing that character with the hair down around his face and being an emo heel, and so and he did a couple of heelish things throughout the matches, progressing that character. But they completely dropped at the end because I think even both of them knew at the end of that match that they'd had a really good match.
Yep, and they're obviously enjoying working together. So next we went into the WCPW women's division with the tag team match, and we were introduced to another new face, Little Miss Roxy, who's been on the indie circuit in the UK, it seems.
It does seem so. Apparently she's been in training. She's very new, but damn, is she good already? She has a solid look. Like, let's put that aside. Like, she's got a character already, and she's got a look and a feel to the way she moves and talks and so forth. But putting that aside, just her performance in the match, Nixon Newell is a great performer. B. Priestley is a great performer. Alex Winsdor, I've heard of previously. I've never seen, but we read the magazines, we listen to the reports. I've heard of her. So apparently she's a great performer. Yes, she is. This was the unknown factor in this match, and she hung with these girls. That
she did. I do want to say, though, for me, Alex was the standout performer of this match.
I'd have to agree with that.
Even showing up the champ, Nixon Newell.
Yeah, I think Alex Winsdor, is it?
Yeah.
Has a really strong feel for her character, has great mic work, and her performance was really tight. And when you put the three of them together, she did stand out in this match. But again, saying that you stand out in a pack of 4 great performers in a match of this quality is like going, well, you're the gold medalist, you're the silver, and you're the bronze, but really you should all have pieces of that gold medal. Yeah. You just get a bit more of it.
They all worked really well together, and I think they all sort of put each other over,
They did really well.
And girls know how to play nice.
Yeah, or not so nice in the case of Brie Priestley and Alex Windsor. I think Little Miss Roxy, the one thing that I took away from this match, not only is she a great worker, she's a fantastic seller. She sold some stuff that really put the other girls over, made them look twice as heelish and twice as bad and so forth.
Yes, and unfortunately she tapped out to a vicious sharpshooter by Alex, which involved also a twisted ankle and then head twist and pull back at the same time.
What it looked like to me was a sharpshooter turned into a reverse figure four.
Right, yeah.
Turned into a reverse figure four held into a bridged over crossface. Hopefully I got most of that right.
Then there was the post-match attack of Nixon Newell by the two Healy ladies.
Which you knew was coming because that's going to lead to more matches and they're building up their women's division, which is awesome.
And Alex was, again, trying to make a name for herself, and B may have just unleashed a monster on the roster there by bringing her in.
Yes. Again, I really like the matches as far as the wrestling, as far as the storytelling, as far as that. Like, I keep saying the same things over and over. It sounds like I'm like a robot on repeat, like repeat, story good, match good, work good. But it really is. It's hard to describe because, especially if you watch the WWE product, you have ups and downs and lulls and all the rest of it. TNA is the same. I'm not going to deny it. No. I'm a huge TNA fan, but you have ups and downs and lulls and all the rest of it within the context of a show. You don't get that in WCPW. You just get great match, great match, great match, funny promo, great match, funny promo, great match. It just keeps rolling.
Well, speaking of funny promo, after this match, we cut to backstage for another segment of Jack being creepy. I've written my notes here, which he was doing last week or the week before with the ladies. Here he's sort of stroking Jennifer's arm, checking if she's okay, or I don't know why she was distressed. Look, poor Jack. You know, girls, we don't like creepy guys.
Jennifer, Susie.
Creepy. Oh, it was Susie.
Because Primate lost a match last week, and
it.
He was creepily touching Susie.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm getting it.
Primate lost his shit.
Of course, yeah, that's right, and chased him out of the building. Rightly so.
Primate lost his bananas. It was awesome.
That's the correct reaction to that.
Yeah,
but
just the look though that dude is he's a great character. But
Primate.
Yeah, great actor. Just the look like when he stops and sees her touching him, he's like, huh? It was just great.
We don't know what happened to Jack.
No, he got chased out of the
streets.
He's
still alive. And that led us into the main event or headline match, which was a Built to Destroy rematch, you'll note, between Big Damo and Rampage.
Ooh.
And it turned into a no-holds-barred match, which was announced after the bell had rung.
So Pacitti announced it during the show, but they hadn't announced it to the crowd, so they needed to announce it to the actual crowd live. Yes. That's why you heard that on the show.
Now, earlier, Pacitti had also lifted the ban on the pile driver, but I can't remember when that was, so...
The sit-down pile driver.
Yeah, oh, right. Yeah. It was, again, some of these announcements seem a little bit hodgepodge, but...
No, it was actually during the show, but yeah, look, the one thing that WCPW doesn't do yet is packages prior to matches. Now, I get it.
Oh, they've done a couple.
Here and there, but Sam the Shredder has way too much work on his plate, as he is with What Culture Wrestling. Asking him to put packages before each match would just be impossible.
That's right. He needs to get back to work for my baking Ross.
Back to work, dickhead. But in saying that, if they could get a package here and there, like for something like that, it would have been cool just to see that recapped prior to the match. Just a little package of Pacitti going, I've had enough, da-da-da, on... Yep. Off you go.
Well, speaking of prior to the match, we got a glimpse of Lost Perspectiva being taken out the back from Rampage, so there was no BX support to help.
That was great. If you see Drake... Oh, sorry. It's not Drake. It's El Draco. My mistake.
Draco.
El Draco was upside down with his legs over his head under a table. It was fantastic. That guy's hilarious. El Draco.
So Big Damo was accompanied to the ring by Adam Blompied, but there was no further backup support for that
BX
reason.
for life.
So no inos or interference. So the big man grudge match.
Now, if you thought that Moose and Drew Galloway were two big men, just wow, folks. Wow. Big Damo, 23 stone. Rampage, the size of a house. And 23 stone meant the size of a house. And I don't know how the ring didn't explode.
Oh, I think we were waiting for a couple of ring breaks, but no.
It was a hard-hitting, brutal big man match. But let's talk about big man matches. Usually they're slow, they're cumbersome, they're the Great Khali versus the Big Show.
Oh, please don't.
They're the type of big man matches that we're used to. Very slow-paced, hard-hitting matches. Now, we had the hard hits, but we didn't have the slow pace. This shit just went bang, ba ba bang, ba ba bang, ba ba, because these guys can go, they can wrestle, and they're big men.
Yeah, and it got a little bit hardcore. They went into the crowd at one point. Rampage fell down some fire stairs.
But look, I want to point out they did it safely this time.
They did.
It's like somebody's listening. No, I doubt that. I think they've learned, don't jump into the crowd. So they got the crowd out of the way. They broke the barrier. They went to the door down the fire stairs. But the crowd kept their distance and stuff. It was a lot safer. I've got no problems with that. That works. You do that. Just don't do the in the crowd stuff where the crowd is actually in the way.
Yeah. There were some big men throwing big men around, though. I've got a lot of tossed, thrown.
Thrown, slammed, dropped. Yeah.
But I don't know, I just think they tell a story so well in Are we repeating ourselves
Yeah, we
now?
are. It's the same thing. No, but they did. If you watch the actual match itself, just as a single standing match away from everything else, they tell a story. Big Damo does some cute little bits, like when they announce that the sit-down pile driver has been unbanned, you see his eyes go wide, he's like, what? And looks back, and Rampage takes advantage of it. And these guys know how to perform. And it's apart from the fact that they can wrestle and they can hurt and do this, and they're very safe workers too. I noticed that during the match. These guys are very safe workers. But apart from all of that, they can perform and act really well. And they layered this great story, this thing that's been building up, and they don't have promos to work with. They don't have those segments prior to the match to kind of build it up, so they need to do it themselves. And I think they pulled it off. They really pulled off that these two have a grudge, and you could tell there was animosity there. There was character development. There was cute moments from Damo, and there was Rampage is getting over as a face, and Damo's still the uber heel, and Adam Blompied got his moments in as well.
Oh, yes. Yeah, the cheeky interference, which did not end well for him.
Not at all. So, again, the match worked really well, and you get good managers and bad managers in wrestling, and some managers make it all about themselves. And in some cases, you kind of need that, like Paul Heyman with Brock Lesnar. Paul Heyman needs to make it about him because Brock Lesnar is the most boring human being on the face of the planet when he talks. So let someone else speak for him, makes it about him, puts the focus off the fact that this dude can't talk, right?
Oh, he really can't. I was watching an interview of his workouts that he does, and he's like, yeah, I do this circuit, then I do this circuit, I hate it. It sucks.
Yeah.
Then I do this circuit. Oh, my God.
Yeah. But then you go back, you look at someone like Jimmy Hart, who enhanced people, regardless if they could talk or not, right? Jimmy Hart knew how to stand in front of people when they couldn't talk, stand behind them when they could. I think Adam Blompied does that really well. He knows when to stand behind someone, when to let Big Damo talk, and when to stand in front of him and talk for him. When to interfere, when not to interfere. And it's working really well. They work as a good little unit.
Yeah, I enjoy it,
I do, and you do, and I do. We all love a heel fraction when it's done well. Not when it's the NWO after the first 6 months. Not when it's, what was the Aces and Eights after
or the main event Mafia.
Yeah, not when it's the first run of the main event Mafia. When a heel faction is done well, it can be really effective. You've got to make them formidable, but also beatable.
Yeah.
And a bit goofy and a bit fun. And that's where they use James R. Kennedy and Los Perspectivos as part of the BX faction to be fun and goofy and all of that. And Big Damo can be the formidable one.
Yep. Yeah, no, I like that. That's a very good summary, Ricky. Well, the match itself ended, of course, with a pile driver by Big Damo, to which Rampage kicked out of, and then went on to do a massive suplex and deliver the finishing pile driver of his own in full retribution.
Yeah. So this was great because it blows off that story arc as well now. So now Rampage is free to move on to do other things, which is cool because they've turned him from heel to face. Now he can go on and work with another heel or do something else, or, you know, he's free from this story arc now. At the same time, Big Damo's now taken a loss. They're heels. They can take losses. They're supposed to. That's what a heel's job is. It's to take a loss from time to time so you can put over a face. Sorry if I just broke kayfabe for somebody there watching this, listening to this for the first time that doesn't realize bad guys are always going to lose.
That's why it's really frustrating when they give them the run, they constantly win or constantly interfere.
Yeah. They always have to lose.
Yeah, you need that payoff.
Yeah. So this
definitely
was the payoff for everything he's done to Rampage, and it paid off well.
Exactly. Well, as always, I'm looking forward to seeing what happens next week. And we are inching closer to that pay-per-view. 6th of October. Is it the 6th? Yeah.
6th of October, called by the greatest wrestling commentator of all times, without a doubt, Jim Ross. And sitting next to him, one of the greatest wrestling minds and most controversial figures in the business. No, not Russo, that dumb fuck. It's Jim Cornette.
In the meantime, however, we will get a little sneaky nugget of Alberto El Patron. He should be on air next week.
Hopefully, yes.
This week coming, hopefully this weekend.
Yes, well, I have actually...
Pipe bombs?
Seen a little bit of El Patron because he has done an interview with What Culture. And...
Are there any pipe bombs?
No. He doesn't
He's professional?
He's a professional. He's been doing this for a long time.
Yeah.
He's not that guy, but... Yeah, he did cut a really cool promo in What Culture. You can see his passion is back.
Excellent.
It's fantastic. So that's just things to look forward to. Kurt Angle is coming up at the iPay-per-view. Cody Rhodes is coming up at the iPay-per-view. Actually, what am I saying? Kurt Angle's versing Joe Hendry!
Oh, yeah.
Local hero at the iPay-per-view, which I can't wait for. And Joe Hendry's going to have a match called by Jim Ross.
Wow, double win one night. And who knows what other local British talent we'll continue to see siphoning into WCPW.
I hope there's a Martin Kirby versus Travis Banks match. I'm calling it now. Next week, they're going to book a Martin Kirby versus Travis Banks match at the iPay-per-view. That's my prediction. That's my lock-in.
Hard style match, yeah. Done.
So thank you so much for listening. I've been your co-host for the WCPW recap, The Stooge.
And I've been your host, the Knockout Fiona.
We'll be back next week with another recap. In the meantime, make sure you check out Stooge Stream and everything else we offer, including the Impact Wrestling recap and a whole lot of other gaming content, news, reviews, and now my fantasy booking segments as well. How I would have booked, inspired by whatculture.com, because I'm a smart ass.
You're a sick guy.